I'm sure you all have heard about and felt inflation when you're going to the grocery store or looking to buy a car, but how exactly does it affect you if you're looking to buy or sell real estate? Now, this is kind of a complicated subject, so we're going to start by looking at it and how is inflation affecting the housing market right now and probably into the next year. And this really takes us going back to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is in charge of setting monetary policy for the US, and one of their major goals is to make sure that inflation stays under control. And of course, that's something that hasn't been happening the last few months. So their major goal is to try and get us back to a point where inflation is at a more reasonable percentage. The major tool they have to do that is raising interest rates. Now, the Federal Reserve does not raise mortgage rates. They raise the Fed funds rate, which affects short-term money between banks. That deserves a whole video on its own to describe the relationship. But just know that the Fed fund rate indirectly influences mortgage rates. So what the Federal Reserve is going to do to try and get inflation under control is raise rates. And as the Fed funds rate is upped, then mortgage rates tend to trickle in behind it going up. So due to inflation being so bad the past few months, the Fed has increased the interest rates every time they've met, which has brought us from a historically low interest rates in the highs 2s and 3s up to 5s and 6s. Now we're sitting right around 6. And with higher interest rates means it's a little bit more expensive to get a loan or buy a home because you're paying more interest and therefore can cushion the demand on the housing market. So when rates are low, demand goes up, and when rates are high, demand comes down. So right now we're seeing a market cool down because rates are pushing above 6%. Now, it took rates almost doubling to pull us back from the high demand that we were seeing this spring in the last years. So it is expected that once rates come back down, that demand's going to pick up again, leading again to a hotter housing market. Now, most experts agree we're going to see interest rates fall in 2023 back to somewhere in the 4s. Now, why do they believe that? One of the major reasons they believe that is because we're already starting to see inflation slow down. It was 8.5% in July, and the latest numbers for August just came out at 8.3%. So we're starting to see that slow down. And if this slowdown continues as is expected to, we're going to see the Fed start to ease off of upping rates. And once they ease off of upping rates, interest rates will fall down and housing demand is going to pick up again.